Hey everyone, how are you doing? This is Roger with Grubus Games Unlimited, creator of Dungeon Crusade, and welcome to the next series of videos. I love chatting with you guys and showing you what's going on, and I have some excellent news I want to start off with. Um, right now, I am on one of the second to last section of the rule book. And right after we do our videos here, I'm going to go and finish that up. And then there's just one section left, which is the Avalon Adventure board game. And that's where you can play that before playing Dungeon Crusade. There's a whole video series on the Avalon Adventure board game on the company's YouTube channel. So I encourage you, if you haven't seen it, I think you'll really enjoy this. So go check that out. So yes, this rulebook, I have finished up these two sections, and then there's just the table of contents, of course, because we had to see where everything was going to fall on the pages, and then the index for the back of the rulebook, and we're done. Everything is 100% complete for the game, finally, and I am very excited and elated and relieved to be able to say that. So next week we're going to be chatting with the manufacturer, preparing the game files and getting this on its way for the proof copy. And then of course mass production, then finally shipping out, fulfillment. So this is going to be finished up next 2 days, I would think, the full rule book. And I'm going to be sharing with you in the last videos, not these two, but the two after this, what it took to create the Dungeon Crusade rulebook and everything I went through from start to finish. And I want to do that to hopefully help other game designers, to let you see the method I used, and I'd recommend it because it really worked well. And as you see, you're seeing the final product. But I want to show you some behind the scenes that I think you might find interesting and see what a time-consuming and daunting task this was to do. Okay, so let's get on with this. We have a lot of fun stuff. This is we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff in the game and stuff maybe you didn't even know about. So let's get on with it. Of course, that's the cover. And we left off with what we were talking about, combat, I believe, last time in some line of sight. Well, we're going to get into traps. And I'm going to give a shout out to a lot of artists here, some amazing friends. And it was just a true pleasure and honor to work with them on this. Something interesting, we're going to be seeing the Tomb of Kaladar, sneak peek of that, but when this started out, the Tomb of Kaladar was the only dungeon board to have traps. There's 4 dungeon boards, but this one was the only one to have traps. And so I was talking to some of the fans and backers, and we implemented the trap system into all of the dungeon boards now. And picture it kind of like a PC RPG game, because really this is, if you read my story, this is really what this is I grew up playing those games like Baldur's Gate and the Eye of the Beholder series and Ultima and Might and Magic and stuff like that. So the trap system is kind of like an option switch. You can have traps on or you can have them off. That it doesn't, it's just for an extra challenge. So this is some of the trap art right here, and the first shout out to it is an amazing guy from England, artist named Dean Spencer. And I talked to Dean about Dungeon Crusade, and he was totally on board. He's just an awesome guy, and his art is phenomenal. And I was looking for this kind of art right here. Let's zoom in more so you can see this, because I love this art. This is called line art, and Dean taught me that. So I had all of these ideas for what I wanted, to do for the trap design. And Dean over here, he did this, created all of the line art, and he threw in a few traps of his own. And so I worked that in, and the traps, even though they're awesome, they're deadly. And so I'm going to shoot over here real quick, and this is a promo poster for the traps, and that's some more of Dean's awesome line artwork. And I just give him an idea of what I was thinking, what I was envisioning, and he just knocked it out of the park. So thank you, Dean. Also, a shout out to David Shear. David Shear did all of the card backings for Dungeon Crusade, and just another equally awesome artist. These guys are just out of this world. And so we'll be seeing a lot of the card backings that David did. So David, I love you, man. You're awesome. Dean, we could not have done this without you. And so I'm very appreciative. Thank you. And I'm sure players are going to love experiencing all your guys' art in the game. So this is more about the traps right here. Basically, these little sigils on the floor that you put when you see this during setup. You have to put the trap tokens on it. This is the trap side, and so there could be a side where it's clear and a side where it's a trap. So when your hero lands on one, like Lyrena here is going to land on this, she'd flip it over, she'd have to draw a trap card. But up here we can see Enwyn has landed on one right here, and it is clear, so she will not have to draw a trap card. And it's a very cool system, and it's always random every game. So maybe the dungeon will be full of traps. Sometimes maybe you'll get away with not having a lot. So that's a little bit about traps right there. Moving on again, David Shearer, there's blessings in Dungeon Crusade. On Celebration Day, and we're going to get to that, the heroes can go to the temple and purchase a blessing for 200 gold. The clerics will bless the heroes. David Shearer, of course, did the art for this. And what happens is, and we're going to go on to the next page for this, is sometimes despair will hit. Meaning, and you can only reveal blessings when you return to the dungeon. It's a big rule in the game. You cannot reveal your blessing until your hero is back in the dungeon. Well, there could be despair, meaning it's just it's a sad saying, and nothing happens. You shuffle this back into the blessing deck, but and actually we're going to give a shout out to Freddie Lopez. A beautiful angel could watch over your hero, and they're going to give him some buffs. For instance, here there's Angel of Swiftness. She will add +2 to your base movement. Then there's some flavor text at the bottom, and then there's 5 angels in the game, and but there's different degrees. So maybe there's an Angel of Swiftness that will give your hero +1 to base movement. Maybe you'll find one that'll give +3. And then there's an Angel of Healing, Angel of Vengeance, Angel of Luck, and one more, but I'll keep that a secret. So there is blessings in Dungeon Crusade. Moving on, Tavern Tasks. Again, David Shearer, art design for that. And what Tavern Tasks are, you have main quest and side quest and kill the guardians that they must be completed. You must do those in order to be victorious in Dungeon Crusade. Well, I created Tavern Tasks, and quite simply, these are optional. You draw one at random. There is 6 of them in the game. All editions have 6 Tavern Tasks. And so this one here this is another character from the story I wrote. This is Charcy Sibrai, and she is a warrior within the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest. And so the Rise of the Crimson Tide gives you a little bit of the setup story, and so your heroes can net some extra gold by completing Tavern Tasks. So it has the task, what you have to do, and then the reward, and you can gain life force by completing Tavern Tasks. So that is in the game. And then moving up here, we're going to talk about the treasure chest deck. And I'll tell you what, before we do that, this is going to go into a part 2. I'm going to leave with this. Come on back, and we're going to talk about the treasure chest and risk and reward. I think you're going to enjoy this. So sit tight. I'll be right back.